Every year I was overlooked on my birthday until one amazing truth was revealed about family love. Emma always felt the hollowness of her birthday. Each year, it passed her by like a whisper, tucked away behind the bustle of their family's small grocery store in the quaint Midwestern town of Maplewood. She was the eldest daughter of a hard-working single mother who juggled the business and a father haunted by the invisible scars of PTSD. Birthdays in their household had become just another day, no balloons, no cake, just the ringing of the register and the chores that awaited. As her 16th birthday drew nearer, Emma's heart sank like a stone. Memories of cupcakes forgotten and wishes made into the wind haunted her, their edges sharp with loneliness. The day always ended in a soft sigh, drowning in unfulfilled dreams. This year felt no different. After school, she planned to spend it with Sam, her loyal friend who also understood the sting of being an afterthought, forever overshadowed in her big family. "How's your birthday feelin' this year?" Sam asked, her eyes darting to the ground, mirroring Emma's own feelings of neglected anticipation. "Like a damp sock," Emma replied with a half-hearted laugh, but the truth rang dead in her chest. Despite the playful banter, they both knew it would just be the two of them, sharing another quiet evening filled with stale takeout and half-hearted birthday wishes. On that fateful day, as Emma made her way to her mother's store, an aching heaviness surged through her. The smell of baked goods and fresh produce greeted her, but it felt distant. Just as she was settling into her routine, her world tilted. Her mom entered, eyes red and puffy, and whispered words no child should hear: news about her father's worsening health cloaked in silence for far too long. In that moment, the darkness of feeling forgotten morphed into something more urgent. Emma knew she had to act, to shake off the isolation that clung to her. With clarity and determination, she devised a plan for a community event that would celebrate her birthday. It wouldn't just mark the passing year. It would be a fundraiser to help her father, to knit their frayed family fabric back together. The day dawned bright and hopeful, with excitement buzzing through the air. Emma watched her town rally, strangers transforming into friends as they shared laughter and stories of resilience. Tables were adorned with homemade treats, children giggled in the sunlit park, and warmth seeped into Emma's core. But a fleeting thought pushed through the happiness, the nagging pang of being invisible. Standing in the midst of cheering townspeople, she suddenly felt small again. Who was she to lead this gathering, to carry the weight of her father's health? The fear of slipping back into shadows crept back in. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But amid the laughter and sounds of music, Emma caught a glimpse of her mother, smiling through her tears as they mingled with neighbors, each face familiar yet new. Hope swelled in her chest, compelling her to embrace this moment. Could this birthday, overlooked for so long, turn into something profound? Would her father's fight inspire a shattering of the silence they had lived in? The very question hung in the air, waiting for an answer only time could reveal. As Emma stood in the middle of the park, the chatter and laughter swirled around her like a warm gust of wind. Her heart raced with a mix of excitement and apprehension. The event she had envisioned started to unfold, each moment more beautiful than she could have imagined. People were donating generously, smiles wide and hearts open. Yet, the feeling of inadequacy still loomed in her mind like an ominous shadow. She stepped to the side, away from the crowd, needing a moment to gather herself. The weight of her father's illness pressed down. How could she be the one everyone relied on? Her phone buzzed with a message from Sam, encouraging her from the sidelines. Emma took a deep breath and let it out slowly, hoping the air would carry away the doubts swirling inside her. Taking in the scene before her, she noticed families sharing plates of cookies and laughter spilling into the evening air. It was the very joy she craved as a child on her birthdays. Suddenly, it hit her this wasn't just an event. It was a bridge that connected her to those around her. She was no longer alone. Her life was intertwined with the town that had always been there, even when she felt invisible. With newfound determination, Emma stepped back into the gathering, her voice strong as she called for attention. Thank you all for being here today. This is so much more than just my birthday. It's about coming together as a community, sharing love and support for one another. The crowd quieted, eyes turning to her, some smiling encouragingly. Emma felt a rush of warmth flush her cheeks. For the first time, she wasn't fading into the background. One by one, people began sharing their experiences, stories of love and struggle that had brought them here. A woman spoke about her battle with illness. A child recounted how the community had helped her family through tough times, and an elderly man recited a poem about hope. Emma's heart swelled with every testimony, every connection weaving a tapestry of support and resilience. As the last story echoed into the evening, Emma's mother pulled her aside, eyes glistening with a mix of gratitude and pride. You did this, you brought everyone together, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I just wanted to feel remembered, Emma replied, the weight of her truth heavy between them. Her mother wrapped her arms around her, holding her tightly. You're never forgotten, Emma. Not anymore. That simple statement cracked something open in Emma. A rush of love poured through her, filling the empty spaces she'd felt for so long. This was what family meant. Leaning on each other, lifting one another up, even when things seemed dark. As the sun set, casting a golden hue over the park, Emma looked around at the faces of her friends, neighbors, and her mother. They were all there, filled with hope. Suddenly, a chilling gust of wind swept through, sending a shiver down her spine. Felt like a warning. But of what? And then she saw him. Her father pulled up in the old truck, looking frail yet determined. Her heart raced at the sight. What would happen when he stepped into the sea of warmth and hope? Would he feel the love that she had just discovered? Before she could ponder it further, people began to cheer. Emma's breath caught. Could he finally join them and break down the wall that had kept him away for so long? The moment felt charged as anticipation crackled in the air, waiting for a shift. Would this birthday truly be the turning point for her father and their family? The very foundation of everything she had fought for hung in the balance. As Emma's father stepped out of the truck, the crowd seemed to hold its breath. The laughter and cheers faded into a hush, leaving only the soft rustling of leaves in the gentle evening breeze. Her heart pounded, a wild drum echoing in her chest. Would he take this step towards her? Or would the distance he had kept for so long remain unbridgeable? Her father straightened up, his frail frame casting a long shadow in the fading sunlight. He looked around, his old eyes scanning the sea of familiar faces he had avoided for far too long. Emma held her breath, desperate for a sign, any sign, that he knew she was there, that he wanted to be part of this moment. Then he caught her gaze. A flicker of recognition, hesitation, and something deeper lingered in his eyes. Emma saw the walls he had built around himself start to crack. For a moment time stood still. The world around her faded, and there was only the two of them under the glowing streaks of twilight. Dad! Emma shouted, her voice trembling, cutting through the silence like a lifeline. Please come join us. Her mother's grip tightened on her arm, a silent plea of encouragement. The eyes of the crowd turned from her father to Emma, and back again, anticipation buzzing in the air like electricity. This was it, her chance to reach him, to pull him back into their lives where love and healing could flourish. Slowly, as if weighed down by years of regret and despair, he started to walk towards her, each step a monumental victory over the ghosts of the past. Emma's heart soared, her breath hitching as the distance between them shrank. She could almost taste the hope that swirled around them. And then the moment of truth approached. Would the crowd welcome him? Would her father step into the circle of love and warmth, or retreat back into his shell of solitude? The chatter that had filled the park moments before died away again, as everyone awaited his next move. Emma, he said, his voice cracking, thick with emotion. The sound was so soft that for a moment, she thought she might have imagined it. But then he cleared his throat, and the intensity in his eyes sparked something deep within her. She felt tears welling up, a mix of joy and relief surging forward. "Dad, it's okay. You're safe here. You're home," she urged, stepping forward, arms open wide. The moment stretched, and it felt like the entire universe had shifted just for them. Everyone seemed to be watching, holding hope in their hearts for a reunion. Emma thought she could even hear the collective heartbeat of the town, waiting for the next breath, the next words. And then he took one last hesitant step forward, like the first splash of a stone thrown into still water. The ripples of his movement spread through the collective gathering, a powerful moment that spoke volumes. But just as Emma reached for him, her cell phone buzzed again in her pocket, a reminder of the looming reality they had all avoided. Her heart sank momentarily as she glanced down at the screen. It was a message from Sam, but the words froze in her throat when she realized they were about her father's health. Desperation twisted her stomach. Would she lose this fragile moment to uncertainty and fear? With her heart racing, Emma faced the choice before her. Should she read the message, knowing it might shatter this cherished moment, or continue to embrace the hope right in front of her? The tension hung thick in the air, the outcome teetering on a delicate edge. Emma knew that whatever choice she made now could change everything. But would it lead to the breakthrough she had been craving for her family? Emma's heart raced as she hovered between her father and the glowing screen of her phone. The message from Sam felt like a weight, pressing down on her chest, threatening to shatter the fragile hope she'd built in that moment. The crowd held their breath, sensing the tension, eyes darting back and forth. "Dad, wait," she called out, her voice trembling, caught between elation and dread. She glanced at the phone again, the words ominously blurring as the tears threatened to flow. Her father, sensing her hesitance, took a cautious step back, the moment slipping like sand through her fingers. "Emma?" He looked puzzled, worry knitting his brow. "What's wrong?" She could see in his eyes the flicker of concern, not just for himself but also for her. But how could she voice the fear that danced on the edge of her thoughts? The illness that haunted their family, a shadow that loomed perpetually. Was this the time to face it or let it slip back into the dark corners? The air buzzed with anticipation, the crowd waiting on her reply. Would they feel the disappointment if she let the moment fall apart? It's just a message from Sam. His gaze intensified. "Is it bad?" he asked, each word heavy with an awareness that their family had been weathered by storms far worse than this one. Emma felt a lump grow in her throat. She didn't want to bring the weight of fear into this moment. She longed for connection, for the embrace of their family to wash away the pain of the past. I'm worried about you, about us." With a deep breath, she took a step forward, abandoning the phone in her pocket. This was their moment, one that couldn't be sullied by digital distractions. "Please, Dad, please don't go." For a heartbeat, she thought he might turn away. She could feel the electricity in the air thickening, a storm about to break. But then, his shoulders dropped, each rigid line softening as he stepped towards her. The crowd exhaled, a collective sigh of relief. "Okay," he said, voice steadier now. I'll stay for you." Emma's heart swelled with joy, filling the space where fear had once resided. "Thank you," she whispered, allowing the warmth of hope to wash over her like sunshine breaking through the clouds. She reached out, and he reciprocated, their arms wrapping around each other, enclosed in a cocoon of tentative love. The crowd erupted into cheers, a wave of sound that seemed to vibrate through the air. Emma's mom was crying, her hands covering her mouth, tears streaming down her cheeks. She was watching the two of them with a mixture of pride and affection, dancing through a sea of emotions. But as the cheers echoed, a distant rumble broke through the moment, the low, ominous growl of thunder rolling in from the horizon, reminding Emma that storms were unpredictable. Would their fragile moment withstand what was to come? Or was it merely a brief pause before another tempest? Standing in the embrace of her father, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that something larger was brewing, an uncovering of truths that had long been buried beneath silence and distance. She had broken through one barrier today, but what waited beyond? A new wave of uncertainties pooled at the edges of her mind. "Dad," she began softly, pulling back to look into his eyes, searching for the answers she craved. "What happens next for us? What do we need to face together?" And in that moment, with thunder rumbling in the distance, the next chapter of their story was ready to unfurl. Emma's heart trembled, caught in the swirl of emotions that ebbed and flowed around her. As she pulled back from the hug, she searched her father's face for answers. Questions hung in the air, intermingling with remnants of the cheers still echoing around them. The tension wrapped tightly around her, a reminder that moments of joy often came wrapped in uncertainty. As the crowd began to dissipate, the thunder rumbled again, this time louder, a deep warning that rattled her bones. She glanced around, noticing friends and family now shifting their attention to one another, lost in their own conversations. But for her and her father, the weight of unsaid words hung between them, heavier than the storm clouds overhead. "Emma," her father began, his brow furrowed, as if he were grappling with his own fears. "There's a lot we're gonna have to talk about. I know it hasn't been easy. Why didn't you tell me?" She pressed, her voice barely above a whisper. "All these years, why did we keep pretending it wasn't there?" He sighed, his shoulders sagging as if under the weight of the truth they both had avoided. "I thought," he paused, searching for the right words. "I thought I could protect you from it, from the pain. But in doing that, I may have just kept us apart." Tears brimmed in Emma's eyes again, this time a blend of frustration and longing, an ache for connection. "But Dad, not talking about it doesn't make it go away. We could be facing it together as a family. I need to know what to expect. What's the truth?" He looked down, the nervous twitch of his hands revealing just how hard this conversation would be. "You're right. It's my fault. I should have been more open." He steadied himself, meeting her gaze with a fierceness she hadn't seen before. "The illness, it's getting worse, Emma. But I'm here, and that should tell you something. I'm fighting." Her heart squeezed painfully in her chest, the words landing heavy like the thunder that heralded the coming storm. His vulnerability flickered through her, igniting a fire within her own resolve. "We can fight together," she urged. "You don't have to do this alone. None of us do." A small smile broke through the clouds for him then, a crack in the veil of worry. "You're right. I want to share this with you, but it's hard. I never wanted you to see me like this." "Like what? Human? Flawed?" Emma took a step closer, her voice strong. "Dad, I want the truth, not this perfect facade. We've lost so much time already." Thunder cracked loudly overhead as if punctuating her urgency. It sent the crowd scattering for shelter, but for Emma and her father, they stood rooted in their shared moment, the world around them fading into background noise. "Okay," he breathed, determination coloring his voice. "Let us talk. Really talk." Emma nodded, her heart racing with a mixture of fear and hope. She had stepped forward into the unknown, and now her father was choosing to do the same. In that moment, with the storm beginning to unleash its fury, the barriers between them began to dissolve. The promise of their conversation became a beacon in the chaos, a potential anchor in the storm. "What happens when the storm really hits?" Emma asked, feeling the weight of the clouds above. As they stood beneath the growing darkening sky, the question lingered, and the storm itself seemed to pause, as if waiting for an answer. Would their bonds strengthen in the face of adversity, or would they falter amidst the tumult? Their story was evolving, and so many unknowns lay ahead, waiting to unfold. Emma was more determined than ever to face them together, come what may. What more was her father hiding? Would the storm reveal secrets long buried? The first drops of rain splattered against the pavement, each one a reminder of the storm approaching. Emma's father took a deep breath, the weight of their conversation pressing heavily on his chest. "It's time," he said softly, the resolve in his voice steadying her racing heart. "I'll share everything I can, but it won't be easy." Emma nodded, her heart a mix of dread and anticipation. "I'm ready. Just promise me you won't hold back." He looked away, as if the reality of what he was about to say was even harder than facing the storm itself. It all started years ago, he began, his voice trembling slightly. When I was diagnosed, I thought I could handle it alone. I didn't want to burden you or your mother. The rain began to fall in earnest, blurring the world around them. Emma felt a shiver run through her, a sense of vulnerability hovering in the air. But hiding it only made things worse. Didn't it? She pressed gently. He met her gaze now, eyes filled with a sadness she hadn't recognized before. Yes, it did. I thought it would be better to keep my health issues private. I didn't want to change how you saw me. I wanted you to have those good memories, not be burdened by my struggles. Dad, Emma protested, but he held up a hand, silencing her. Let me finish, he said, his voice rising just above the sound of the rain. But what was meant to be protection turned into a wall. And eventually, I realized I was blocking you out more than I was keeping you safe. The truth is, I'm scared. Scared of the future, of what it means for us. Is it the illness that makes you feel like this? Emma asked, her voice breaking. It struck her how the storm seemed to mirror the turmoil inside him. It's not just the illness, he murmured, leaning against a lamppost, his shoulders slumping again. It's the fear of being judged, of being seen as weak. But honestly, I'm more afraid of losing you, of letting you down. Her chest tightened. You could never let me down. You just need to be here, with me. A small, bittersweet smile crossed his lips, and Emma felt a rush of warmth at the thought that maybe they could bridge this gap after all. It might be too late for me to change what has happened, Emma, he admitted, the storm's rhythm echoing with each word. But I want to be honest with you moving forward. I want that too, she whispered. I want the truth, all of it. He took a deep breath, composure wavering, as he began to share pieces of his life she had never known, the struggles, the late-night fears, the moments he had fought in silence. With each revelation, she felt like she was peeling away layers of a painful history that had been insurmountable for too long. The rain poured harder now, a cacophony of sound, but they stood steadfast. As his words washed over her, Emma sensed a dawning realization. This was only the beginning. They were shedding the old, cracking open their hearts for the truth. What if this storm is just a prelude? Emma mused aloud, the analogy forming in her mind. What if the worst is yet to come? Her father's eyes darkened with concern. That's possible. But we can face it together. We can't let our past define us anymore. The intensity of their connection electrified the air around them, though uncertainty loomed ahead. Emma took a step back, her heart pounding. And what about the things we don't understand yet? Will that storm still reveal things that could change everything? They both stood silent as the thunder rolled, pondering the depths of what had been said and what was still left unspoken. Outside, the world faded into darkness as they faced the heart of their own storm. What awaited them in the chaos of truth? Would they emerge stronger, or would the revelations sweep them apart? Emma's fingers trembled as she clutched her father's arm, seeking reassurance in the unfolding turmoil. The rain fell harder, not just a backdrop but a living thing that seemed to throb with each heartbeat. Each drop rattled against the pavement like an echo of the thoughts sloshing around in her mind. Secrets were surfacing, but what more lay beneath the surface? Can you tell me what you've been hiding? She asked tentatively, the question tumbling from her lips, lined with both fear and curiosity. He hesitated, glancing to the side as if searching for the right words among the drenched streets. It's complicated, Emma. There are things I've avoided talking about, even with your mother. I wanted to shield you from the weight of it all. But I deserve to know. We can handle it together. Her voice was firm, steady despite the chaos surrounding them. He finally faced her fully, his expression raw and vulnerable. I didn't just hide my illness, I hid a part of our family's past. There were choices I made. Mistakes that led me down a path I didn't want to take you on. The wind whipped around them, and a cold shiver cascaded down Emma's spine. What do you mean, Dad? The stakes felt impossibly high, and anxiety gripped her tight. What mistakes? He licked his lips nervously, words spilling forth like rainwater. When your mother and I were just starting out, we had dreams and plans. But life took an unexpected turn. I made decisions that affected not just me, but everyone around me. Emma's brow furrowed deep in confusion. But I don't understand. What does this have to do with anything? Everything. His voice was tight, emotion thrumming in every syllable. The illness, my struggles, they were rooted in the past I didn't want to face. I didn't want you to see me as a coward who couldn't hold onto his dreams. Suddenly, there was an eruption of thunder, echoing like a loud heart beating in the dark. Cars splashed through puddles, their headlights illuminating the downpour like searchlights on their quiet turmoil. Are you saying you regret something? Emma ventured, her own heart racing with the fear of rejection. Do you regret me? No. His denial came sharp and fierce, shocking. Never that. I'll never regret you. You are my light, Emma. But he hesitated again, his emotions spilling over. There are family secrets that could change everything. Things I should have told you, but I thought protecting you was the best choice. I was wrong. The next lightning flash illuminated his face, a man weathered by more than just illness, but by choices he carried like stones in his pocket. Emma felt her heart lift and crash in rhythm to the storm. What are these secrets, Dad? What have you been hiding all this time? As the downpour increased, he took a step nearer. It's about who we are as a family and who I really am. I've been operating under false pretenses. You deserve the truth, not just a watered-down version. Her stomach nodded. But what if it changes everything we know? What if it tears us apart? He stepped closer still, his hand gripping her shoulders. Then we deal with it together. But we can't keep pretending. The storm is here, and we have to face it. The thunder rolled again, a fitting soundtrack to their fear, and Emma's heart raced at the thought of the truths waiting in the wings. Would they find strength in revelations or be shattered by them? Can we start now? She whispered, the weight of their unspoken past looming over her like a dark cloud. He nodded solemnly, their eyes locking, a silent agreement linking them in this moment of uncertainty. The storm raged on, but what awaited them in those truths? What would they discover in the heart of their chaos? And as the rain poured, washing over everything, Emma took a breath, ready to uncover the mysteries of her father and their family. Would they find clarity, or would the storm reveal even darker skies ahead? The thunder cracked again, shaking the ground beneath their feet. Emma felt the reverberation in her bones, a warning of the storm brewing not just outside, but within their hearts. Her father stood there, his eyes dark pools of regret and fear. She couldn't help but feel drawn closer, hoping that whatever he had to say would bring light, not just rain. Emma, he began, his voice barely audible over the downpour. When I was a young man, I made a choice. I thought it was right at the time, but I see now how it haunted me. It's a story about my own father. Every word was heavy, the air around them thick with tension. Emma's breath hitched. This was the turn she had feared, the deeper family history that could unravel everything she believed. Your grandfather, he continued, was a complicated man. He struggled with his own demons, and I wasn't strong enough to stand up to him. I let his ghosts control my life. I realized too late that he passed on more than blood to me. He passed on fear, insecurity, a legacy that I willfully ignored until it seeped into everything I did. Emma felt confusion swirl inside her as she processed his confession. What do you mean? What did he do? What did you do? Her father sighed deeply, a sigh that seemed to come from the very depths of his soul. He had a temper, a fierce one. When I failed to live up to his expectations, I was met with anger instead of encouragement. I didn't want that for you, so I buried it, hoping it wouldn't affect my relationship with you. The rain pounded harder, as if trying to wash away the memories that he now wished to expose. Emma clenched his arm tighter. But don't you see? That's not how we build families. It's not by hiding truths, but by sharing them, even the ugly parts. He looked down, shame painted across his features. But I was afraid you would see me the same way I saw my father. Weak. Emma shook her head. That's not weakness, Dad. That's being human. We all have fears. If you had talked to me, maybe I could have helped. Maybe knowing the truth could have made us stronger. Her father's face softened, and she could see the realization dawning. You're right. I thought I'd shield you from my failures, but instead, I built chains that bound us. I thought that if I shared my struggles, I would make you suffer too. No one is going to suffer by knowing the truth. Not anymore, Emma insisted, her voice gaining strength. We've already faced storms, and we can face this one too. It's what families do. They share burdens, not just joys. The rain fell in relentless sheets, but warmth filled the space between them as connections sparked anew. Her father took a deep breath, a man finally ready to unearth the secrets buried in stormy soil. Okay, he said, his voice steadier now, brimming with resolve. I'll tell you about your grandfather, the stories that shaped our family and the moments he took from us. But know this, Emma. I never wanted you to feel lesser than, to inherit any of that darkness. I wanted you to soar above it. Let us fly together then, Emma said, excitement dancing in her eyes. And as he began, slowly peeling back the layers of their family's history, Emma felt a dangerous mix of anticipation and dread course through her. What would she learn? What truths would surface? Would these revelations bind them tighter? Or would they open doors to more stormy weather ahead? She held her breath, ready for the storm of secrets that was about to spill like rain. Your grandfather was a man of great pride. Her father began, each word tinted with a mixture of sadness and anger. He came from nothing and built a life for himself. But he believed that strength meant silence, that sharing his feelings would show weakness. The irony is, he was the weakest man I ever knew. Emma's heart raced. She had only met her grandfather once, a tall shadow with a stern face, and she remembered feeling chills in his presence. She hadn't been able to understand why until now. He tried to toughen me up, but all it did was make me feel small. Her father continued, pain etched into his features. The rain drummed on, as if echoing the beating of their hearts. I was always trying to please him, always trying to earn his love, but it was like chasing a ghost. That's why I swore I would never put you through that. She felt the weight of his words, pressing in on her. But what if I wanted to understand him? What if knowing about him could help us heal? She urged, looking deeply into her father's eyes. He hesitated, the storm within battling the storm outside. I kept thinking if I was silent, you wouldn't feel the same pain I did. I thought I was protecting you, but in doing so, I was protecting myself. Dad, she said softly, it's time we stood together. You mentioned moments he took from you. What were they? Her father's gaze drifted back into the past, memories flickering like a fire in his eyes. There was one birthday that stands out. My 12th. I had practiced all week for the school play, and I was sure he would come to see me. But he didn't. He chose to stay home to finish work instead. A thick silence settled between them as the rain lessened into a soft patter against the leaves. I waited, standing backstage, peeking through the curtain. I watched the audience laughing, clapping. Every cheer felt like a dagger. It was the moment I realized he'd never value my victories, only my silence. Emma felt a lump form in her throat. That birthday wasn't just another day. It was a defining moment, one that thrummed in her father's heart like an unfinished song. Did you cry? She asked gently, reaching out to take his hand. He nodded, the bittersweet memory lingering. Yes. I promised myself that no child of mine would ever feel that kind of neglect. I think he loved you in his own way, Emma whispered. But love can't be given until it's shared. Maybe he just didn't know how. Her father looked at her, the lines of worry on his brow easing slightly. You've been wise beyond your years, Emma. I wish I had known that years ago. But you can change the story now, she urged, looking straight into his eyes. You can break the chain. He sighed, the weight of the past pressing down on him like the dark clouds overhead. But what if this brings more pain? What if unearthing these memories shatters the illusion of a perfect family? Emma swallowed hard, her heart racing with enthusiasm and fear all at once. Then we deal with it. Together. We can't let fear dictate our love anymore. A brief silence enveloped them, and Emma felt as if the air had shifted, filled with new possibilities. What if those ghosts from your past could inspire not just fear, but understanding? She added, her voice steady and sincere. Her father remained quiet, mulling over her words. They both spotted the faintest glimmer of light behind dark clouds, a sudden blush of hope that made their hearts race. As the last remnants of the storm began to drift away, Emma realized they were on the cusp of a revelation. What if we uncover the truth together? What if we finally face down the demons that have lingered for too long? The look in his eyes shifted, and he took a deep breath, as if filling his lungs with the possibility of change. Okay, he said finally, a quiet determination settling over him. For the first time in years, they stood on the threshold of healing, ready to embrace whatever came next. But as they stood there, they both knew one thing: this was just the beginning. What would they uncover next as they delved deeper into the past? Emma couldn't help but wonder if even more astonishing truths lay in wait, eager to surface. Would they finally find the love they'd both been searching for? Emma and her father stood beneath the rain, each drop washing away layers of silence that had shrouded their lives for too long. The thunder had faded to a distant rumble, but the air was charged with a promising electric energy. It felt like a new dawn was breaking, and she could almost taste the hope flowing through her veins. As they stepped together into the warmth of unity, Emma's heart fluttered with exhilaration. Let us keep digging. There's so much we haven't uncovered yet, she said, her voice fueled by a determination that glowed like embers from a freshly stoked fire. I want to know everything. Her father looked at her with a newfound spark in his eye. You're right, Emma. There's no sense in holding back, no more pretending that everything is perfect when it's not. He took a deep breath, steadied by her presence, ready to share the raw truths that had haunted him. The truth? It's like the storm, I suppose. It's powerful, and it can be terrifying, but without rain, there's no growth. The clouds began to part, and soft rays of sunlight streamed through the remnants of the storm, washing over them like a warm embrace. Emma felt a surge of warmth, both from the sun and from her father's willingness to open up. It was my grandfather's legacy that shaped so much of my life, he continued. Every time I tried to voice my dreams, he would turn silence into a weapon, and I learned that love felt conditional. It became easier to hide. I thought burying my fears would protect you from the pain, but I see now how much damage that caused. Emma's heart ached for the child he had been, once full of dreams, now shadowed by the weight of expectations. So what can we do to break that cycle? She pressed. We can redefine our own history, together. There was a flicker of hope in her father's eyes, a light that hadn't been there before. We can change everything. I need you with me every step of the way. I promise, Emma vowed, her voice steady. We'll create our own legacy, one built on love and truth, not silence and fear. They shared a moment of understanding, hearts intertwined in that commitment, two souls ready to confront whatever storms lay ahead. As they walked forward, the light of the setting sun wrapped around them like a warm blanket. Emma could see their small town coming alive, neighbors gathering in groups, laughter mixing with the scent of freshly baked bread. They were no longer isolated. They were part of something bigger. Do you see that? Her father pointed towards the crowd assembling at the park where Emma had hosted her birthday fundraiser. They're all here for us. They want to support you, Emma. You've created something beautiful. Tears glistened in Emma's eyes as she took in the sight. Families mingling, children playing, friends sharing stories. All bound together by the love that Emma had once felt isolated from. This is what family looks like. Real family, she whispered, her heart both heavy and light at the same time. So, let us open up to them together, her father suggested, with resolve spreading across his features. Emma nodded. She felt their walls crumbling, brick by brick, and it was liberating. Hand in hand, they stepped into the crowd, where warmth and familiarity enveloped them like a hug. As they approached, people began to notice them, expressions turning from curious to radiant. Emma's mother waved them over, her eyes shimmering with pride and love. You two are finally together, she said with tears in her eyes. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Mom, Dad and I have decided to share our story, our truth, Emma said, her voice ringing out with newfound assurance. Her mother's eyes widened, anticipation shining bright. That's wonderful, darling. Just then, Emma stepped forward to the gathering crowd, her heart pounding in rhythm with their collective breaths. Today is not just my 16th birthday. It's a new beginning for our family. She gestured for everyone's attention, her eyes scanning the faces of neighbors, friends, and strangers. For far too long we've hidden behind our struggles and fears, but no more. We are here to honor love real, unconditional love. Her words hung in the air, pure and hopeful. The crowd reacted, a wave of applause rising like a song of acceptance and celebration. I want to share this journey with all of you, Emma continued, her heart swelling. Together we can break the barriers of silence. We can lift each other up and heal. In that moment, as she spoke her truth, she could feel the warmth of family surrounding her, the warmth she had longed for, now radiating from every corner. She glanced at her father, beaming with pride, and felt the loving squeeze of her mother's hand in support. The night blossomed into an unforgettable celebration, a reminder of community, of hope, and of the unbreakable bond that defined them all. Emma could see it now. Every face, every story, filling the tapestry of their lives with radiant colors. Together, they laughed, shared stories, and faced the storms of their histories. They were more than just a family now. They were a united force. Under the night sky, Emma felt the lightness of her spirit singing in harmony with those around her. And as she closed her eyes to absorb the love and laughter enveloping her, she finally knew a birthday wasn't just about being remembered. It was about connection, transformation, and the stories that bind families together. Let us promise ourselves, Emma whispered to her father, that we will never overlook each other again. I promise, Emma, he said softly, a smile breaking across his face, a mix of joy and relief. As the sounds of laughter and joy echoed through the park, Emma glanced upward. The storm had passed, and a brilliant array of stars twinkled above, as if the universe itself was celebrating with them. This was just the beginning, she thought, her heart full and radiant with hope. Now was the time for new memories to be forged. Now was the time for love to flourish. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support matters. Comment your reactions, your feelings about this heartfelt ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of supporting this channel through these actions.